Off the top tonight, a new poll out showing that Americans now name terrorism as the #1 problem facing the U.S. This after the deadly attacks in both Paris and San Bernardino.
And it comes as police in Grand Rapids investigate an alleged hate crime. A clerk at Bottleneck Store on Fuller Avenue says an armed robber called him a terrorist and a member of ISIS and then shot him in the face. That shooter is still on the run tonight after getting away with an unknown amount of money.
The victim had told police that the suspect said that he used to shoot people like him all the time in Iraq. But the clerk is from India, not the Middle East. He's not even Muslim. The store manager says it's hate that no one should have to experience.
We shouldn't be targeted for it because we have nothing to do with it. Obviously, we're just trying to live our normal lives and grow up. I grew up here, and a lot of my Punjabi friends did. And
as that Gallup poll shows, it is a time of heightened fear across the country.
24-Hour News 8's Evan Dean talked with a local professor about how that fear is impacting Americans. Evan?
Brian and Marley, while the professor we spoke with obviously couldn't speak on the alleged hate crime in Grand Rapids, he says the fear of terrorism right now is affecting Americans in a number of ways. It's impacting our social attitudes, it's driving many political conversations, but just how much should it?
Without discounting how despicable the terrorist acts are and the reality of terrorist threats yet to come, there is a great human tendency to fear the wrong things.
David Myers is a professor of psychology at Hope College. He understands why people are fearful of terrorism, especially now. But he says the reality of being harmed in another way is much greater.
When death happens in bunches, in vivid, mentally available ways, it captures our mind. And then we come to exaggerate fears of that thing rather than other greater dangers to our lives, such as routine gun violence, such as auto accidents.
Myers says the fears of terrorism can be socially toxic. Muslim Americans in Grand Rapids felt the need to protest terrorism after the Paris attacks, worried about misconceptions that they're connected to ISIS.
But I, as a Christian, want all Christians judged by the actions of the self-proclaimed Christian who shot up the Planned Parenthood clinic in Colorado Springs? Of course not. We know that's unrepresentative of the great number.
And Myers has watched as the conversation on the campaign trail zeroes in on Muslim Americans. Donald Trump recently called for a ban of all Muslims entering the U.S., sparking both controversy and backlash.
Islam is plagued by what a few people do in its name. Christianity has been plagued by Bible-banging KKKers, lynching people and doing other atrocious acts in the past. And so what we have to do is, in our minds, separate the exceptional from the usual and the normal, and avoid extreme, exaggerated stereotypes.
Myers also referenced the Japanese internment camps of the 1940s, saying Americans misjudged an entire group of people based on the actions of a very few. He says the same thing is happening now with Muslim Americans.